Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown and team, and we provide, non-diet, trauma-informed nutrition counseling and intuitive eating resources and education and support and healing and hope. So thanks for joining us here on this channel. And I've noticed that we have a lot of new people here, so I thought I would do a quick little review video about what it feels like to be pretty much in the first, let's say, 1 to 3 months of this journey. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about, we're going to call it healing eating, because a lot of people kind of like, okay, I've hit a wall, I've hit diet bottom, or I know my life has become very unmanageable with all of this restriction that I once thought was healthy, or my conscience told me it wasn't. And even though I'm scared to do something different, I better do something different. So that's where we're at with this. So this video is for people. It's a really good video for people who just want to hear some validation of how far you've come. It might be for you if you're recognizing, oh, I'm got a lot going on for me here, but I'm probably in the messy middle somewhere. Or if you're kind of a newbie, again, within the first couple months of this work, and you haven't read a lot of books yet, you haven't had any counseling yet, you haven't listen to many podcasts, and you're kind of hearing this intuitive eating stuff. And on one hand, it's really exciting and even exhilarating and hopeful. And then the other, you're hearing a lot of negative static. So I just want to talk about a few of the lies that I actually hear people's voices tell them when they first start this journey. So one of them being, this is too much food. Right. And it's really interesting that when we're in the midst of like breaking the food rules, meaning like you're not restricting as much anymore. Maybe you've got a long way to go to eating enough food to get the healing eating, like nutrient restoration kind of process going. More food is often, feels better than how little food you were eating, but you're still not where you need to be. So if you have had, so let's say over here, 6 months or 6 years or 6 decades of restricting, of course, you're going to have to go over here. Over here, you can't even see it in the screen. You're going to have to like have an arc swing for a while to get in enough food to heal that many weeks and months and years of deficit. So if you're eating 50, or maybe if you're lucky, 2/3 of what you should be eating, let's say, to have good gastric motility and for your mind, will, and emotions and all your systems to be working good and normative, really, if you've got a big deficit, you're going to have to eat more than pretty much everybody else in your space or in the room for a while to get yourself back to equilibrium. Now, how long that takes is really up to probably the level of support we have, our willingness to be uncomfortable, because some people will like just go for it and do all-in eating, and some people need a meal plan. Or just basically containment, some way of making sure they're not accidentally or purposely under eating to get there. But most people, the fastest I've seen people get honestly, truly nutritionally rehabilitated is probably 4 to 6 months. That's the fastest. And that's somebody who's willing to eat, triple what they're already eating right now, probably, maybe more. But most of us probably go to a little bit different, slower pace. I know it took me a year of like, it didn't matter how I emotionally felt about it. I just had to work on doing what needed to be done. I wasn't always hungry, but I ate something or ate more than I thought I should and broke those calorie barrier rules or portion level rules in my head, right? So you're going to have to do this, which leads to lie number 2, which this whole like recovery and intuitive eating thing is just an excuse to be lazy and undisciplined. When my clients are really honest with me, they'll say that they had that negative prejudicial thinking, right? And all we have to do is like, oh, well, of course, that's the programming of our culture. That basically, if you were to eat what you need to eat, you're going to gain weight. And really the programming of this culture is it's lazy and undisciplined to gain weight. And that's what's really speaking through that lie. It's not like intuitive eating is a problem, because if you actually look at the medical and scientific literature about intuitive eating, even before that existed, I knew that like what I was doing was wrong. I was like being, morally judging of my own and other people's food. I knew I was eating less than I needed because I would leave the table hungry all the time. and I didn't see that as valiant. I saw that as like just a function of me trying not to feel shame so I could be prideful about and feel good about something. At least I did something right, which was eat less, which is what our culture tells us is to be valued and to be worshipped. And I knew that was wrong in my conscience, right? So if you hear this in your own head, like intuitive eating is just an excuse to be, you fill in the blank, what you're actually repeating is the negative programming that you learn, whether it's your family culture, bigger culture, whatever. And the truth is more likely that me eating enough food, and even if that makes my body change, that's not the same thing as being lazy or indisciplined. In fact, I'm actually being about as courageous as you can be in this culture. Okay? Another lie that I hear a lot of times is like, if I eat this way forever, I'll gain weight forever. And the truth is, again, we're looking at like the right now moment of how uncomfortable we feel versus the big picture of like, I need to eat this way for now to get to equilibrium, which means eventually my organ systems are going to be back in that space where they need to be, where they would have been if I had never restricted in the first place, all right? So it's not really true that you're infinitely going to gain weight. Now, if you're misattuned for the rest of your life and eating past fullness, probably every meal of every day, yeah, probably, right? But that's not what we're proposing here. We're really proposing let yourself get to equilibrium and let your body settle where it needs to settle to feel secure that a famine isn't coming anytime soon. All right, we got to heal these deficits. So those are just some of the big ones. You know, the judgment, the fear, the self-rejection, the feeling like I'm losing my identity if I, actually am a relatively normative eater, all the things you're going to hear. And that's a little too deep for this video, but just want to start with those lies here today. In Wednesday's video, we're going to do the other side of the coin, which is some of the lies we hear around binging and emotional eating that are pretty typical, that we kind of use as a way to go back to holding on to what we know. And here's just a little teaser for that video. There's a difference between something new and something being a threat. So we're going to talk more about that in terms of around emotional eating on Wednesday's video. And then tomorrow we will get back. Let me get my book here if I can find it. We will get back to our discussion. Oops. I'll look for it later. We'll get back to our discussion on chapters 3 and 4 around logic school, because that kind of work is going to help us with these fears of rejection. Yeah, that's where we're going to start. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the nice crowd that was here today. I appreciate you so much. If this video was helpful, pass it along. If you have something that you want to share from your experience, put it in the comments below. I'd love to help you. I think that's it for now. Thank you so much, and I will see you in tomorrow and Wednesday's videos. Bye for now.